In last week's YouTube film, I was talking about roe deer and whether I would find it useful to use a thermal imager to locate subjects to photograph. Well, this week I've got 2 thermal imagers and I have the opportunity to try them out for a few days and see what I think. The one of them, I have to look this up, it's a Pulsar Helican 2 XQ38F. If you start Googling the subject of thermal images, there's thousands of them, too many. It starts to confuse the market when they bring out so many. But this one I've managed to borrow. The resolution of this is an important figure, 384 by 288. I seem to regard that as mid-range. There's a higher one as well, a higher resolution, which is 640 by 480. And I suspect the resolution is probably the most important feature on one of these, but I don't know. I'm no expert, and I can watch as many YouTube films as anybody, and I can repeat the information parrot fashion that I gather, but I don't really have a deep understanding of it. But to me, resolution is probably the most important feature. Anyway, the other thing I've got is this Infiray T3. Tiny little thing. Look how small that is. It's minor, and that simply plugs in to your mobile phone into the USB socket. So this is a Samsung phone. Let me put it in there, and there's an app. You download the app and I fire it up, and my phone now becomes a thermal imager, and I can see hot spots or white spots or whatever I choose. But it's such a tiny bit of kit, so that's no problem at all to have it in your camera bag all the time. When you're not expecting to use it, you've got it. Whereas this is actually quite heavy. It's quite surprisingly heavy. It comes in this really tiny little case, so it's very easy to store away. It's a bit of a nuisance maybe to carry it about on your phone, so they also supply like a pistol grip for it. I'll just set that up for you. So that doesn't take long to set up, and it's much more convenient to walk about with it like that as well. And then there is a tripod socket if you want to put it onto a tripod. But it's still a very compact bit of kit, and it is the cheaper end of the market too. That is the T3, but there is a T2, and that's even cheaper. If you look on YouTube, you'll see lots of reviews for the T2, not so many reviews for the T3, but I'm assuming the T3 is the latest one and the better one of the two. So that's what I've been doing for the last few days, is comparing these two, and let's go and see how I got on with them. We'll start off by looking at the Infiray, or infrared it's also got written on the back of here, T3. This is definitely the cheaper end of the market. I could go and buy this tonight on eBay for £700, and there's a used one on there at the moment for £550. And the reviews on YouTube are very positive about it. So what's the advantages? Well, on the plus side, very small. You could put that into your camera bag, you're not going to know it's there. And I can walk along and look as I'm walking. You can't do that with binoculars or a monocular. You have to keep stopping and scanning with a monocular. And if there's a long-eared owl in this hedgerow, it might have picked it up, or a woodcock on the floor as I'm walking along. You can actually walk along and view the screen at the same time. On the downside, the screen is not really bright enough. I can actually see the image. It's the menus I'm struggling to see. Indoors it's okay, I can make out the menus, and I've turned the brilliance up on the phone to its maximum and I'm still struggling to see it, so it's a bit difficult to deal with the settings. I haven't got it on the pistol grip, and that's because I'm just trying to carry as little as possible with me at the moment. So although the T3 has recorded this roe deer walking across the grass, it didn't find it for me. I saw the roe deer with my naked eyes and then pointed the camera at it. You've got various colour palettes, that's the hot spot. You can have a white spot. I'll just show you some of the various colours. But the red glows here are the vegetation. They're not any sort of animal life. And you can change it to black and white imagery, white eye spots, all sorts of colours. This is the case for all thermal images as far as I'm aware.
and I found it most helpful to have either red hotspots or white hotspots. But it is confusing. Certainly with the T3 I found it very confusing. Now that's a snipe, a common snipe, but again I found it with my eyes rather than find it with the T3.
Another downside to it is, in order to be able to plug that into the USB socket, I've had to take the case off, and as soon as I take the case off a modern phone, well, they're like a bar of soap. I don't know why they make mobile phones like this, but it's very slippy and very easy to drop. So it's not the easiest thing to hold once you've done that, and then these buttons are very easy to press on the side. I keep doing it. I could put the pistol grip on, but say I just haven't carried it with me just to keep the weight down as I'm carrying everything about. So after several hours of walking around with this, it has failed the crucial test. I haven't actually found anything that I didn't see with my eyes first. I would see something, a deer in the distance, then I could check it on here and I could see the red glow, but I never saw a red glow first and then managed to pinpoint the subject. So it's really failed my pragmatic test.
You can buy a thermal imager in the shape of a binocular, but I haven't managed to borrow one of those.
So now we're looking at the Pulsar, and a very different viewing experience. Whereas with the T3 there's lots of red highlights all over the place, there is with this, but straight away I can see a difference. This field in front of me, this is the best field we've got on the estate for brown hares. It's the best place to photograph them, and as soon as I've scanned with this, I've picked out more than one brown hare.
Once you see the red glow, you've got to put binoculars on it to identify it as a brown hare, but it was finding them. And this, straight away I could tell was a bird. It obviously wasn't a hare, but I wasn't sure whether it was a pheasant or not until they came out more into the open, and then I could see it's a partridge, or two partridges.
Now you do have to keep stopping and then scanning, but I'm just getting so much of a better image, and straight away hares, pheasants I can see, and I can tell more or less. I'll take a good guess at what they are anyway.
This is a skylark up in the air singing. It's at least 100 meters away, and I was also able to see it on the floor, and it's a very small bird. So this is the sort of thing I want to be able to see.
Now I've only been using this Pulsar for about 15 minutes, but I've already made my mind up. This is in a totally different league. It's in a different price bracket too. You can't buy these new anymore, this particular model, but it was just over £2,000 when it was new. They're on eBay, second hand, 1,200 I think was the cheapest I've seen. Now I'm not going to go for this model because I want the higher resolution, but the T3, it's not in the same league at all. It's not doing what I want to do. This, I'm excited about this. I am finding things.
I tried a few owl nest boxes, wondering if the heat from an owl inside the box would sort of filter up outside the box. This is a crevice that barn owls have used to breed in the past, and I could see no heat coming out of them and no heat out of any of the nest boxes too. But it could be because the boxes weren't occupied. I don't know.
Now this is a kestrel's nest box and it's on fire. This is very, very hot. And as I walked up to it, there was a grey squirrel came out and ran up the tree. And then I got the camera running and there was two more grey squirrels came out and ran up the tree, and the box is still glowing hot. There must be loads of grey squirrels in there. You can see lots of leaves and twigs that have been gathered, so it's a squirrel's dray. But I didn't know that many grey squirrels huddled up for warmth as that. I mean, judging from this, there's at least two still in there, so that's 5 in that one kestrel box. I was scanning this field as I walked up, and this plastic tree protector was glowing red about here, and when I looked down there, there's a rodent's nest, a mouse nest about there, and obviously something inside it. Oh, in fact, when I first scanned it, something climbed up and went back down again.
This roe deer was at least 100 metres away, and I didn't see it with my naked eye. I only saw this because I scanned with the thermal imager. And there's three choices. It could be a muntjac, a roe deer or a fallow deer. And you can tell from the shape that it's a roe deer. Now this is one of two species, but with the binoculars I can't see, even though I'm only 3 metres away from this bird. I can just about see some brown feathers, which is confirmed it's one of the two species of snipe. But which one?
There's a snipe down there. I can see the red glow with this, and it has to be a snipe. It can't be anything else in that particular habitat. And again, you could tell it wasn't vegetation. There's something about the shape of the glow that within a few minutes of practice, you can tell you're looking at some sort of animal. So it has to be a snipe. I can't tell whether it's a jack snipe or a common snipe. I can just about see the feathering on the back. It's well hidden in the grass, but this has picked it out. If I had my hide here and my camera gear, I could potentially put a hide up about this distance now. Let's say I'm about 15 metres away from it. Get inside the hide. If it's a jack snipe, maybe it comes out and starts to feed. I don't know. That's the sort of thing I would like to be doing with it. But it has found a snipe. It could be a common snipe. The only clue that it's a jack snipe is common snipe would have probably flown away when I was 3 metres away from it. Jack snipe, they wait until you almost stand on them before they fly away. I didn't want to flush it, so I've walked away. I haven't got my camera gear here. I can't make use of it. Just testing this out. But it's working. I'm enjoying using this. Much clearer to be able to see things, and the glow is much stronger.
And just a bit of footage of some geese. You can't identify the geese from this, but you're finding them and then you're checking them out with your binoculars.
One of the things I've decided today is I'm not going to go for the binocular type. I'm going to go for the monocular. This is heavy enough, and if I had the binoculars, they're going to be much heavier than normal binoculars. And imagine if I've got those around my neck as well as these, and you need these. Once you've located something that's glowing red or white, then you tend to put your binoculars on and try and pin down what it is. So I've got to keep the weight down. It's going to be a monocular. Well, I've really enjoyed using this today, and I found several things that I wouldn't have found without it, and that's the practical test that I wanted to see. Most of the demonstrations I've seen on YouTube, they're looking at dogs or people or horses, cattle, deer, large things. I wanted to see if I could find things like the snipe, and I've been looking for woodcock too, and it works. I am going to find things that I wouldn't be able to otherwise. One small difference that I didn't mention before is in the focusing. With this, you do have to keep focusing. With the other one, the Infiray T3, you can focus, but you can set it up so anywhere between, let's say, 3 meters and infinity is in focus. So you don't normally have to keep changing focus. Here you do, and it's not very clear, so you're hesitating about the focus. But anyway, I'm going to have to buy one. I'm going to buy one with the higher resolution. Do I wait for Christmas? Do I wait for my birthday? Which is first? Oh, my birthday's first. Well, one of my regular sayings is, never put off till tomorrow what you can do today. Where's my telephone?
Thanks for watching.